What's up? War Child Warrior here. I got a different kind of video today. I watch UFC a lot. I like UFC, MMA. I pay close attention to the fighters. So if any of you have recently watched the Conor McGregor fight, the most recent one, he fought Cormier, or not Cormier, can't pronounce the guy's last name. But anyway, he lost, right? He lost, and it was because of his ankle. He broke his own ankle. And so now he's making all these videos, right, of him bitching and crying and complaining and talking about how he was already injured and his ankle was already fucked before he went into the fight. And he has a million reasons why he lost that fight. And it was the third fight. He won one. Matt, or the fucking guy that I can't think of, that he just recently fought. And I just said I know all the names and everything. I do. It's just there's so many fighters that I follow. I sometimes lose track of who was the most recent fight. It was Conor McGregor. Anyways, it was the third bout. They each had one under their belt. The third one, this last one, Conor McGregor lost, so now he's got 2 losses against this opponent. And I'm just watching his videos, and I'm like, dude, you're just making excuses as to why you lost. You broke your own leg. If you knew you weren't 100%, you shouldn't have went into the fight to begin with. You don't go into a fucking major fight like this without being 100%. And if your ankle or whatever is not 100%, and you think, oh, well, I'm at 90%, I can go into this fight. No, if you ain't 100%, especially against an opponent like that, you're gonna lose. 99 out of 100 times you're gonna lose. Now, we've seen fighters go into fights totally, with injuries, and we've seen them go into fights, 80%, 90%, and they've won. So it can happen. It is possible to go in there, overcome, win, come out victorious, and not be 100%. It's not something that is impossible. But if you're going to use that as an excuse after you lose, then our only argument as the fans is, well, then you should have waited till you were 100%. So that way there is no excuse, no reason. Oh, my ankle was this way. Oh, I was ignoring this injury. Oh. All these different things. And I'm just like, Conor McGregor, man, shut up. And now he's fucking out there boasting about this $3-point-some-odd million Lamborghini yacht that he fucking just recently bought. Like, okay, that's great. Who cares? He's just trying to basically get everyone's minds off of the fact that he just lost, and he's making up all these excuses now. But then he comes out and he's like, hey, everybody, look at over here. Look at this big yacht that I just bought. Isn't it awesome? Yeah, it's awesome, but you still lost, and you're still making excuses, and you're still making videos and on social media. Conor McGregor, you lost. Don't sit here and try to bullshit us. You weren't 100%, okay. But don't sit here and say, well, the reason why I lost is because I wasn't at the top of my game and I just wasn't trying hard enough, or, 1,000,001 in excuses or whatever. And it's like, yeah, whatever. You weren't the better man that day. It's all right. But don't sit there and talk a bunch of shit before the fight, and then after the fight, have a bunch of excuses as to why you lost. Don't ever talk shit unless you know for 100% guaranteed, without a shadow of a doubt, that you're going to win. Don't talk shit before the fight, because then after the fight, you wind up eating those words and you look like a dumbass. an idiot. And that's kind of what Conor McGregor did to himself. He talked a bunch of shit, went in there, got his ass kicked. Then he said it was his leg, his ankle. You know, he wasn't 100%. He broke his own ankle on accident during the fight, for one, which is totally stupid. And I'm not saying that it can't happen to any professional fighter. I'm sure it can, but what are the numbers as far as that? How often does that happen, where a fighter accidentally breaks one of their own limbs during a fucking major title fight or just a major fight? Anyway, I had to come on here and bitch and complain about it because I'm tired of seeing Conor McGregor on social media, talking his fucking Irish shit. Look, man, you lost. He whipped your ass. For whatever reason, he was a better man that day. Plain and simple. Point blank period, Conor. Just stop. Just stop. We all know that you're a good fighter. We all know that you had a bad day. You lost. It happens. Get over it. By the way, I'm Team Diaz all the way. So, Nick and Nate Diaz. Yeah, Nate lost one to Conor. But I think Nate was, because of his last win over Conor, the one before the second where he lost, I think that Nate was expecting it to go the same way again, and so he went in there with a head full of steam and maybe a little overconfident. Now, that's not to say that Nate cannot win again, or that his overconfidence is his problem. Just that day, he might have been a little overconfident, and maybe he didn't expect Conor to be so aggressive or whatever, and he lost. Okay, it happens, like I just said. But 5 out of 10 or 5 out of 4 fights with Nate and Conor, I'm going to put my money on Nate. Nate Diaz. 4 times out of those 5 fights. I believe Nate is way more conditioned. His stamina is way better. His boxing is par, top fucking, top shelf, man. Like Pier 1, fucking just. It's his boxing is incredible. Fucking outstanding. Conor's got good boxing, and his brother Nick Diaz's fucking boxing is fucking, bar none, some of the best in the UFC. I think Nate Diaz could beat Conor McGregor's ass fucking, 4 out of 5 times. They've only had 2 fights. Each, he lost one, Conor lost one. So they're even right now, but dude, I think that Nate Diaz could beat Conor's ass. I think Nate Diaz could beat a lot of people that are in the UFC that right now don't think that Nate is, he has lost the last few fights. Now, that due to, many things, maybe he wasn't having a good day. We know Nate can fight and he can win. We've seen how many fights, fuck Nate and Nick. They're 2 of the best UFC fighters in the UFC today. Besides Conor McGregor. And Conor ain't even doing that good anymore. He had his time. He's on a losing streak right now. And, I think, as big as he was and as much money as Conor McGregor was making, I think that, he might be close to retirement. He might be done. Conor McGregor might be coming to the point in his career and the point in his life where he might be done. You know, not because of age necessarily or anything like that, but he's been in the UFC for a long time now. He's been at the very, 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 very top, and at the very, 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 very bottom, and everywhere in between. So when you have done that much in the UFC, where can you go anymore? You know, once you get knocked down to the bottom, of course you can go all the way back to the top again, but you've already been there. You've already gotten those belts. You've already had that. You've already, you know, been there, done that. So at some point, when you've accomplished everything and you've been everywhere and have had all the belts and done all that and have all the money, buying fucking yachts and Lamborghini yachts and shit, you know, where do you go as far as your career anymore? Like, maybe it's just, I don't know, he might be just ready to retire soon. Maybe a few more fights. If he can win, you know, and end his career on a winning streak with a belt, that would be the perfect way to call it quits. I don't know where where Conor's at as far as that goes. Nate Diaz, you know, I think he has a few more years. I think Nate has more room and a little bit more time to where he could become as big as Conor McGregor was. You know, fucking just top of the world, man. You know, Nate Diaz, I mean, he's well known, but he's the fame that Conor had, Nate hadn't had that. And I think that's kind of good. He was sort of an underdog always. You know, he was sort of an unexpected, he was like a diamond in the rough or something, you know? So maybe he will never achieve that kind of fame or whatnot, but Nate Diaz, don't sleep on him or his brother. Let me tell you, I think he has more potential. I think that he has time still to do more in the UFC. I don't think he's done. I think he's got more wins out there for us to see, and I'm Team Diaz all the way. This was a longer video than I wanted to. I kind of went off the rails here. This was basically a video about my feelings about Conor McGregor and his recent bitching. Anyways, if you're a UFC fan or an MMA fan, and there's any fighters that you want to list down who you think are great, let me know. I'm a big UFC fan. I pay attention to it a lot. So let's, this video, like I said, it's kind of different. But maybe we could start doing some videos where we discuss some UFC sports on this channel. I don't know. Maybe that could be like the alternative topic when we're not talking about, prepping and the government and the bullshit. Maybe we could talk about UFC and fighting. All right. This has been War Child. I hope you guys are having a great hump day. Get out there and hump somebody. I don't know. That just, have a good Wednesday. All right. I love you guys. I thank you guys, for being my subs. I appreciate all of you. My heart and thoughts go out to all of you, and have a great week. All right, rest of your week. I'll be back. Maybe we'll talk some more UFC, or maybe we'll talk government bullshit. Have a good one. War Child out.